Hello everyone, welcome back to Tech in the Real World with Mark Darwin, and today we're going to be looking at the iPad A16, the new model that's just been released. So what I want to look at in this review, and the question I want to ask is this new model a big enough upgrade to justify recommending this new iPad with the A16 chip in as a budget tablet in 2025 for the price it's being charged at? So the model I picked up was I went for the yellow colour because I love bright colours and I love different colours. So they do it in blue, pink, yellow and silver. And I think that's great that they do all these different cool colours because the market is meant to be for like school market and also for anyone who's in college or university, that kind of market for the budget price. But is this really a budget price? So Apple market the price of the machine. So the starting price is £329 for the 128GB model. So they've upped the storage this year. So they've given us a double storage after the paltry 64GB they realised finally was nowhere near enough in 2025. So we've now got 128GB and an A16 chip. So that's about it. There's not much difference in this iPad apart from the storage configuration. So we'll talk about whether you should upgrade from the original, from the previous generation baseline iPad if you've got it and you're looking at this one at the end of this video, because I don't necessarily think you should, but we'll talk about it. So you can buy it with Wi-Fi and cellular, which bumps the price up to $479. So Apple are very good at getting you to increase the price to a silly price that you should not pay for this budget iPad. So I think 128GB is plenty for what people are using this for. It does go up to 512GB, but the starting price is £629, which is just crackers for an iPad with this kind of budget specs in my mind. It doesn't even have a laminated display, so we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about the display, but that really gets my goat with a no lamination display. So then you can add on the Apple Pencil, which is a further £99 or £79 depending which generation you go for. It's not compatible with Apple Pencil Pro, only with the USB-C first generation, and that's it. So you're not going to get the top of the range Apple Pencil Pro with this machine. Then you can add the Magic Folio on, which is an extra £249, which is just a silly price for a keyboard and a case. Yes, it's pretty good, but it doesn't feel like good quality to me. It certainly doesn't feel worth £249. So that total price for the base model with the keyboard and the pencil will bring you to £657, which is insane for an iPad for this kind of spec. So what do you get for an iPad then? If you just went for the baseline iPad for $329. So you get the choice of colours, a nice aluminium finish, and it looks great. Like, it looks a really nice iPad. It feels like a premium Apple product. I've got no complaints there. It is only a 10-inch screen. I think it's 10.9-inch screen, so it's not huge. I think it's now been increased to 11-inch screen, so it's 11-inch screen. So liquid retina display, and it's got the P3. It hasn't got P3 wide color gamut like the iPad Air. It's got sRGB color, and you can tell the difference side by side with the iPad Air. It looked a lot worse. So the A16 chip is a bit of a silly move by my part, because Apple have been pushing us all with Apple Intelligence for years now, for about 2 years now, saying we need Apple Intelligence. You've got to have it. We're going to update all our products for Apple Intelligence. And what do they go and do? They get their base model iPad, give it an A16 chip, and say, sorry, it's not going to support Apple Intelligence. Right, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. It'd be like Google doing it on the base model phone, or any Android manufacturer saying we're not going to support Google Gemini because our phone isn't powerful enough. It just wouldn't sell. I just don't get the marketing perspective here, why they're doing this. I think they're probably saying that people who buy the base model iPad aren't bothered about Apple Intelligence, but that's a bit of a weird way to look at it, because I think actually younger people who use this kind of iPad, students and anyone it's aimed at like that, will be interested in Apple Intelligence because they're growing up in the AI world. So I think it should support Apple Intelligence. I think it's a poor move by Apple not to support Apple Intelligence. I think a lot of people would agree with me online as well. So you get a 12 megapixel camera on the back and a 4K video recording, but the camera's not that great, so I wouldn't really bother with it. It's got landscape, 12 megapixel center stage camera now, so that's nice. They moved it to the area here, just like the iPad Air. That makes a big difference. That's a great move. Thank you, Apple. I don't think it matters about the fact they don't support the Pencil Pro, because it's not aimed at the Pro market, so I think that's fine. I think the basic Apple Pencil is fine for what it supports. And the Magic Folio keyboard is really nice. It's just way overpriced. It's just a silly price. Like, for £249, you can probably get yourself a third-party manufacturer case for much less money, which will integrate just as well. And it does look good. Yes, it looks very nice, but it doesn't feel anything like the iPad Air portfolio case. So it actually is just a very basic keyboard that folds in on itself. It's got a kick-out stand at the back. It is much more basic than the iPad Air stand, so don't expect it to look like the iPad Air if you put the folio case on it. So for £679, you could probably pick yourself up a very decent Windows laptop or second-hand MacBook Air M1 or M2. So I think, it just seems like silly money to me. I wouldn't bother with the keyboard case. I think it's too overpriced. It does turn into a laptop and it does work as a laptop, but for me, it's just too much money for the performance you get, and you'd lose the Apple Intelligence, and the A16 chip is really old now. It's 3 or 4 generations ago, and it's not the A16 Pro or anything like that, and to me, it doesn't feel worth the money. So let's look at this display then. So the display is a very, very bog standard Retina display. It has 60 Hz refresh rate. It looks terrible compared to... So I've got a tablet here next to me, which is the OnePlus tablet, which I've not reviewed yet, which I paid £400 for, including the keyboard, which is really, really good. Has a really nice trackpad on it, really big, the folio stand and the pencil. So that's £450 in total. And it has a beautiful 3K IPS panel with the 144 Hz refresh rate. It's got a Snapdragon S3 chip in it, so it's really, really quick, and it just makes the new iPad look terrible. Honestly, put it side by side with that smaller screen, the low refresh rate, the no lamination display, and it just looks awful compared to it. So in my mind, yes, if you just stick to the $329 price and you have to have an Apple iPad, then fine, it's okay. So performance-wise, it's okay. It's not too bad. It won't run anything intensive, which is most people don't use for iPads. It will do basic note-taking fine. It will do word processing fine. It will do light photo editing fine. But that screen lag is just terrible. For me, it feels even worse on the base iPad. I don't know what it is. The 60 Hz just feels terrible compared to even the iPad Air. It seems a lot worse. I think it's to do with the fact that you haven't got a laminated display. So what is a laminated display? So basically it's where they fuse the glass with the screen. So if you press the iPad A16 here, you can see the glass wobble with this is not fused to the screen, so it's not going to be as durable. It's going to reflect light more, and it's just not going to feel as nice to use. So in my mind, I would really, really, really consider pushing yourself to the iPad Air, because I think the iPad Air is the minimum that people should be looking at. If you were buying this for a kid, like your child, and you're going to throw it in you can get lots of cases for iPads now, then fine, just do that. But it's a very expensive way of doing that for a child, I think. So I've been reviewing the Honor X8 Kids Edition at the moment for my children. That cost me £170. It comes with the kids case, and it comes with a free replacement if they break it, just like the Amazon Fire Kindles, and it's much better. It's got a faster refresh rate screen, it's got more memory, and it's just an overall better tablet than this. So I think, to me, the fact that they've taken Apple Intelligence out of this, I just can't recommend it. I just don't like the tablet at all. I'm just not getting on with it, and I don't really see a market for me. But if you disagree, and I'm hoping some people do, because I like to get into a debate, please drop me a line in the comments down below and tell me who you think this should be aimed at, because I just can't see a market for it, and I don't think it's a particularly fantastic tablet for the price. So if you can go over to the Android world, I would. In this case, because Android tablets seem to work fine with iOS. If you've got an iPhone, don't worry about it. You can still get all the same apps and everything on it. So just pick yourself up a much better tablet in the Android world if you need. But if you absolutely have to have iOS, I would look at the iPad Air starting price. So what does the iPad Air start at? So if we look at the iPad Air on here, so yes, it is a big bump in price. Well, so £329 to £599. I suppose that is quite a big bump. It's about £200, but you get so much more for your money. So you get the M3 chip, which is leagues ahead of the A16 chip in this. So the M3 chip is what they put in the last generation MacBook, so it's much more powerful. And you can get access to the new stand, the new iPad Air Magic Keyboard, which looks fantastic, and it really feels worth the money in my opinion. It's really premium. And you can go up in storage, and also it's got a fully laminated display, still 60 Hz, but I can live with that because it feels more premium, and I love it. I love the new iPad Air, which I'll do a full review on later on, and you get Apple Intelligence. So to me, it's worth that extra money. So if you can spend that extra money, get the iPad Air. If you're looking at buying this for a child or someone who's like that, sort of preschool children, I would go for an Android tablet over this. I just think the market isn't there with it yet. I don't know who Apple are aiming this at, and it's just too expensive, in my opinion. But even if you've got the money, I don't think you get anything more by spending £600 on this than you would do on an Android tablet. Even if you spend $329 on it, you just don't get the same value as you would do on an Android tablet. And I know some people love iOS ecosystem, and I get that with your MacBook and everything like that, but try and push for the iPad Air because it's just so much better. So, for example, you can plug the iPad A16 into your TV and use it as an extra display. It does mirror the display, but it's very basic. Whereas if you get the iPad Air, it will give you a full 4K desktop display with Stage Manager. It's so much better, and you can use it like a laptop. It really feels like a laptop, so you're getting much more for your money. It's worth that extra £200 to get all those features on it, I think, and that's just my opinion. So I think that's enough for me rambling on about the iPad A16. I just can't really recommend it. I love the design of it. I love the colours, and they're fantastic. I just wish Apple had given us a A17 or an A8. I wish Apple had put an A18 chip in this, because it would have been more powerful than the iPad Mini. Or maybe even even if they put the same chip in, an A17 Pro as the iPad Mini, and given us Apple Intelligence, I think it would have been fine. I think that would have been perfect. People would have bought it. It would have been much more market appeal, and it would have justified the price. And bring the price down on that keyboard. It's just too expensive. So about £150. It should be not £250, and then you would have yourself a decent tablet I could recommend. But at the moment, as it stands, I don't recommend the A16 iPad base model anymore, because of the fact they've taken the Apple Intelligence. I know people aren't bothered about Apple Intelligence, but you're just missing out on a lot that potentially future-proofs the tablet. So if you're going to spend £600 on tablet, and it might be out of date in a year's time, I just don't see the benefit of that. I'd spend an extra $200 and get the iPad Air. So that's just my thoughts. I hope everyone's found that helpful. If you're looking at buying between the iPad Air and the iPad A16, if you've bought one of these iPad A16s and you're happy with it, let me know why you think you're happy with it, and just what generally, and join in with the conversation, as I really want to hear from everyone. So thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope it's been helpful. I will show you some side comparisons videos side by side of the iPad Air with the iPad A16, so you can see the screen difference and also the size of it and everything like that. And also I'll show you the OnePlus tablet here with it, so you can see the screen difference with It's got no HDR support on the screen either, so you lose so much out of this, where with the iPad Air you get HDR and everything like that. So just go for the iPad Air if you want a decent tablet, budget tablet from Apple. That is the one that I would recommend still for most people. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you haven't, let me know why down below. Thank you.